Should I do estate planning for my family cabin? My name is Andrew Ayers. I'm an attorney with offices in Edina, Minnesota and New York City. And today we're going to talk about that vacation home, that family cabin that's been in your family for years, and we want to make sure that it stays that way. So things are getting quiet here. It's July. We're getting ready to go on our family vacation. And I've been having a lot of calls recently with clients who are in that same situation. They've got a family cabin they're going to go to. It's been in the family for years, and they want to make sure that they're protecting it for down the road. So this isn't as long as some of my other videos. It's going to be a short, quick 3 things to think about when you're looking at doing estate planning for your family cabin. First thing you want to do is make sure you're talking to the whole family. You don't want to create a plan that cuts out 2 or 3 family members who never even knew what was coming. They didn't even know what was going on, and they wanted to be in the family cabin going forward. Or the flip side of it, maybe they didn't want to be involved. Maybe they've moved far away and it's too hard for them to get to the family cabin, and they just weren't interested in having an ownership interest anymore. Maybe they just like to come visit sometimes. And that's step 2, is make sure you've plot out your plan for the future. What's it gonna look like in the future? Who are gonna be the owners? What are gonna be their different roles? And when the entire family has had this discussion, it can make the plan a lot simpler than simply mom and dad deciding, here's what we're doing with the family cabin, and we'll let the next generation sort out what's going to happen. And so the third step is to create that plan. And when you're creating the plan from a legal standpoint, the most important question you have to figure out is, how is the cabin going to be owned going forward? The first way is just probably like it is now, direct ownership. Let's say mom and dad own it. They can use a transfer on death deed and have it automatically go to their children. Or if mom and dad own it with their siblings, are they owning it with a right of survivorship, meaning the last sibling to be alive inherits the cabin? Or is each share able to be passed down through somebody's will? So we can do direct ownership. It's usually pretty straightforward. We just want to make sure we know that that's what we want to do. The second way you can own that cabin is by using a trust. Now, a trust is going to be a little more advanced. It's going to have a lot more rigidity. It's going to have a structure to it, and the trust is going to detail what happens with the cabin and how we divide things up. But it will also make sure to keep that cabin out of the probate court. So we're not going to have to worry about a court coming in and possibly selling the cabin out from underneath you. And the third way, which is a common way my clients do it, and I think it's a great way if you're renting out your property, is to put the property into an LLC. So you're creating a business, an LLC, that'll be the owner of the property. The advantages of this are that you're limiting any liability. So if somebody rents the property from you for the summer and they slip and fall and they sue you, they're not suing your personal assets. They're suing the LLC, and the assets of the LLC are usually going to be limited to the asset of the property that the LLC owns. Another benefit of the LLC is that you can protect your name and privacy if that's something you're concerned about. You can take that rent that comes in and use that money to reinvest into the property without rent showing up on your tax return. And then, of course, at the end of the day, it's a great way to keep this asset out of probate court. So rather than having individuals own this property, and when somebody dies, the probate court has to distribute it, the LLC will have provisions about what happens when an LLC member dies and what are the next steps. So you can just have that LLC membership being inherited from different members of the family, as opposed to having to go into the probate court if somebody dies who's an owner. So I'm off on vacation. Hopefully you're seeing that there's a few different issues you want to consider when you're creating estate planning regarding your family cabin. It's not something you want to try to do yourself. As I said, you want to have a discussion with your whole family and make sure everyone's on the same page. If you're ready to get started, or if you have more questions, you can go to my website, andrewmayers.com. There's a little red button that says Legal Strategy Session. Click that button and you'll be taken to my personal calendar. We'll set up a time for a legal strategy session, which is usually 15 to 20 minutes. We could talk about your family cabin, what you're looking to do with it, and create a plan for you going forward. You want to keep that family cabin in the family, and this is not something you want to try to do yourself.